Welcome back to Daily AI News at Let's Data Science. It's 2026-04-26. Today we're diving into some pivotal developments from the future of machine intelligence to major product launches. Let's get to it. We begin with a story that sits at the intersection of frontier AI and national financial security. India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has convened a high-level meeting to assess cybersecurity risks tied to Anthropic's model, Claude Mythos. According to reporting from India Today, the Indian Express, and others, the meeting brought together the heads of scheduled commercial banks, representatives from the Reserve Bank of India, the National Payments Corporation of India, the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, or CERT-IN, and the Indian Banks Association. The catalyst is public reporting around Claude Mythos, a restricted preview model from Anthropic unveiled as part of Project Glasswing. Anthropic has described Mythos as unusually capable at autonomously surfacing software vulnerabilities. Independent testing cited by the Indian Express, conducted by the UK AI Security Institute, reportedly placed Claude Mythos at 73% on expert-level hacking tasks. That number matters. A model that can reliably identify software vulnerabilities compresses the discovery timeline for both defenders and attackers. If vulnerability discovery becomes cheaper and faster, the traditional window between flaw discovery and patch deployment narrows dramatically. That is precisely the timing dynamic regulators appear concerned about. The Ministry of Finance posted that the threat from Claude Mythos is unprecedented and requires a very high degree of vigilance. Sitharaman reportedly directed banks to take preemptive measures and emphasized the need for real-time threat intelligence sharing with CERT-IN. The Indian Banks Association has been tasked with coordinating an institutional response. Importantly, the Indian government is also reported to be in conversation with Anthropic after a briefing suggested that Claude Mythos may have been accessed by unauthorized individuals. Anthropic has limited access to Mythos to around 40 partner firms, according to public reporting, keeping it as a restricted preview rather than a broad release. For practitioners in banking and fintech, this is a clear signal. We are entering a phase where regulator-led convenings around specific AI models are no longer hypothetical. Watch for formal guidance from the Reserve Bank of India or CERT-IN on AI-driven vulnerability disclosure timelines. Also monitor whether the Indian Banks Association operationalizes real-time threat intelligence pipelines across institutions. This is not just about one model. It is about how advanced generative systems alter the equilibrium between offense and defense in critical infrastructure. Next, let's shift to the infrastructure layer, where NVIDIA is making a coordinated move with DeepSeek. NVIDIA has announced day zero support for the new DeepSeek V4 model family on its Blackwell GPU architecture. DeepSeek V4 launches with two models: DeepSeek V4 Pro, a 1.6 trillion parameter system with 49 billion active parameters, and DeepSeek V4 Flash, with 284 billion total parameters and 13 billion active. Both models support up to 1 million tokens of context and advertise outputs up to 384,000 tokens. That puts DeepSeek V4 squarely in the extreme long context category. According to NVIDIA's technical blog, the V4 family uses a hybrid attention architecture that combines compressed sparse attention and memory compression techniques. NVIDIA claims a 73% reduction in per-token inference flops and a 90% reduction in KV cache memory burden compared to prior baselines. On the hardware side, coverage of NVIDIA slide materials by WCCF Tech reports preliminary inference throughput near 3,500 tokens per second per GPU on GB300 Blackwell Ultra hardware. Just as important is the software ecosystem. The open-source runtime VLLM has published early implementation notes for DeepSeek V4, including support for FP4 and FP8 KV cache data types, kernel fusion, and hybrid KV cache scaling strategies to handle the 1 million token window. This is hardware model co-design in action. Day zero support via NVIDIA NIM microservices and GPU-accelerated endpoints lowers deployment friction for teams running multi-GPU Blackwell clusters. For teams building large-scale document search, archival code reasoning systems, or long-horizon agents, the combination of extreme context and immediate runtime support could materially reduce integration timelines. Watch for real-world latency benchmarks and cost per token metrics once NVFP4 optimizations and further CUDA kernel tuning settle into production stacks. From infrastructure, we move to robotics in the field. Business Insider reports that the Startup Foundation has sent 2 humanoid robots, including a unit called Phantom, to Ukraine for a pilot demonstration focused on supply pickup and transport. CEO Sanket Pathak described what he called a moral imperative to deploy humanoid robots in frontline roles and suggested that within 5 to 10 years, such systems could be capable of extracting targets. The demonstration reportedly centered on logistics rather than lethal engagement. However, the symbolism is significant. Moving humanoid systems from lab environments into active conflict zones shifts the discussion from proof of concept to operational validation. Foundation has not published detailed autonomy stack specifications or a technical white paper in the Business Insider coverage. But for robotics engineers, the technical challenges are clear. Hardware ruggedization, reliable perception under degraded conditions, low latency communications, and robust fail-safe behaviors. Field deployment dramatically increases the integration and verification burden. It also intensifies ethical and regulatory scrutiny. Expect growing attention from defense authorities and international organizations regarding permissible roles, export controls, and testing restrictions for humanoid systems like Phantom. Finally, in our top stories, a signal from Google. Nokia Power User reports that Google Cloud CEO Thomas Kurian said a new Gemini version is arriving very, very soon, and that internal benchmark results have made Google highly confident about its performance. The discussion reportedly referenced systems at the 10 trillion parameter scale. Public speculation has focused on whether this will be Gemini 3.5 or a new flagship Gemini 4. There is no official release note or product page yet, but practitioners should treat this as an early signal. Historically, internal benchmark confidence at firms like Google precedes staged previews, partner integrations, and cloud rollout phases. Watch for updates across Google Cloud APIs, TPU or GPU instance offerings, and formal benchmark disclosures. Now, for a few other key updates in our lightning round. EY India's Future of Pay 2025-26 report projects an average salary increase of 9.1% in 2026 across corporate India. Global capability centers are forecast to lead with 10.4% increments. Roles in generative AI, machine learning, and advanced analytics reportedly command base pay premiums of 30 to 40%. Attrition declined to 16.4% in 2025, with global capability centers at 14.1% versus 24% in financial services. For ML engineers and ML ops specialists, these numbers are concrete market signals. JP Morgan's Asia Equity Strategy Report has downgraded India equities to neutral while increasing exposure to technology and Taiwan. The firm cited accelerating gains across AI stocks in Asia and noted India's premium to MSCI EM has compressed to 65%. It also lowered CY26E and CY27E MSCI India EPS growth forecasts to 11 and 13%. The capital rotation towards semiconductors and data center exposure could reinforce funding flows into AI infrastructure ecosystems. Reporting from IT Security News and Tom's Guide highlights findings from the Federal Bureau of Investigation's 2025 Internet Crime Report. The FBI logged 22,364 cases involving artificial intelligence, with losses of nearly $893 million, contributing to total internet crime losses approaching $21 billion. As AI-generated personalization and audio deepfakes improve, defenders must shift from content heuristics to provenance, behavioral telemetry, and stronger authentication controls. And finally, according to Mint, Avatar Venture Partners expects multiple IPOs from companies backed by its first 2 funds within the next 18 to 20 months. Founding managing partner Mohan Kumar said the firm anticipates 3 public companies by 2028. Avatar is reportedly targeting deep tech and AI for a $400 million third fund, while Bloomberg has reported that portfolio company Insurance Deco is considering a $250 million IPO raise. And that's your AI briefing for today. The landscape is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here to track it with you. For more insights, visit us at letsdatascience.com. Thanks for tuning in, stay curious, and we'll be back tomorrow with the latest in AI.